Joining me now, the president's man on so many occasions, Ed Rollins. He served in 3 presidential administrations, the chief political advisor to the House Republican leadership. He is the dean. And Pulitzer Prize-winning columnist for the New York Post, Michael Goodwin, both Fox News contributors. And I want to very quickly commend Michael for a brilliant column this weekend on the media and how we got here. It is the best of the best writing on the issue. So congratulations.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for that.
Appreciate it.
Ed, let me turn to you very quickly. We've just heard from Kevin, from others, the confusion about what states are complying with the commission. What is going on? Why would there be such reticence?
Well, it shouldn't be. These are all public documents. I mean, the bottom line is anybody can go gather them any place if you go to all the states. So my sense is the purpose of the commission is to try and eliminate some of the problems we've had before, and I don't see any issue at all. And if the state had issues, I mean, if they're guaranteeing their stuff is safe, I would guarantee it's probably.
How can you misuse this data?
You can't. It's all public information.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand that.
No.
I think it's unfortunately become just a partisan issue. The president said 3 to 5 million illegals voted, and so all the blue states are now out.
What do you think? You think that's an overstatement or an understatement?
I have no idea. I think there is a significant.
You think we ought to know?
I think we ought to know. I think every state ought to care about who's voting in their elections.
Even California?
Even California should care.
Not California. Or New York, maybe? Chicago? Illinois? What do you think?
I don't think so, but I think at the end of the day, I don't think there were 3 million illegal voters. I've argued that point here. I do think there are more than 3 million people who are illegally.
You've got just as much evidence to support your view as the president does his.
I think there are 3. I think he's correct in the sense that there are 3, 5, 10 million people who are registered illegally. They haven't moved their addresses. They've died. They've done all. We lose about 2 million people every year who are registered to vote, and we don't correct them. We need to correct them.
Well, that's doggone inconsiderate of those dead folks who don't take their names off the rolls.
I've been in a few campaigns where they have voted, so.
We're not going to discuss what side you were on.
Yeah, I mean, something like the margin in the Electoral College was decided by something like 100,000 votes. So.
I want to get to governance here real quickly. Nikki Haley, Ambassador to the United Nations today. The United States calls an emergency meeting of the Security Council, 2 members of which are China and Russia, obvious permanent members. And we didn't ask. We had no specific ask. We had no specific recommendation. And I didn't hear a lot of caterwauling from people who felt threatened. It was a strange moment.
Well, I think the whole Korean thing is a strange moment. I think we are as close to an engagement at any time since 1953. This has been a hot spot for. This put many presidents losing sleep over the years. I think they are doing things that they shouldn't be doing, and we have to somehow figure out how to stop them. And I think we're right on the verge of that. And I think we need the world to be behind us because it's going to create economic chaos, let alone the danger to millions and millions of people in South Korea.
Yeah, you know, when you say, as you hear Ed say, the world behind us, we're with the world. I mean, the European Union made it clear they want to be part of any effort to stop North Korea's nuclear ambitions, its development of further ICBM delivery systems. Why isn't there already in place a reaction? I mean, today, I didn't hear from the European Union. I didn't hear from Asia. Japan, we did hear from. South Korea was basically silent. What in the world? As Ed says, this is such a peculiar moment.
Well, and it is a reflection of how feckless the United Nations has become for anything meaningful. I mean, here you have a little fly speck of a nation.
Bulldoze the thing. I mean, but that's the situation every time. I say bulldoze it, move on. But now let's talk about our interests, our national interests. What this president has been great at. But right now, we're looking, I believe Ed's right, we're looking right into the abyss here, and the prospect of having to use as much advanced weaponry as possible to stop North Korea. Yeah, if necessary, China.
Right. Look, it certainly feels as though this is coming to a head very quickly now. It's been going on for really a couple of decades where that kind of tit-for-tat game where they get relief from sanctions or whatever, and then they start the game over again. Now there's no more playing field left.
Well, you know, you talked about the United Nations being feckless, spineless, directionless, unprincipled. But look at it, the administrations that preceded the Obama administration, which set a new standard for feckless. The Bush administration, the Clinton administration, which was the first to basically say, go ahead, right. We're not going to do anything, a wink and an aversion of their eyes. And the Clinton administration set a precedent that was carried through until the inauguration of Donald Trump.
But we sit here and we talk about the 10 million people in Seoul who we have to very definitely worry about. But we also have 28,500 men and women on that border, and they're the first ones that get damaged if this happens. And they have been there. It had as many as 50,000. It's been the tripwire. It's what's saved that war from ever occurring.
There's so much BS around this issue. Half of Korea's population lives within range of
30 miles.
Of North Korea's rockets, its missiles, about 50 miles from the border. And we've known that. We didn't need a trigger. We didn't need 50,000 when we had them, or 60. We don't need 28. We need some sort of idea of what the hell do you do about a crazy little SOB who insists on having an ICBM with a nuclear warhead attack.
Look, I think President Trump's opening idea of getting China, sort of making nice to China, making a deal with China, you do this, but China didn't come through, and so that's
they haven't for a single administration.
That's right.
But I think the president is also right. He had to try.
Yes.
Don't you agree?
Absolutely.
Now what?
I would not be afraid.
I turned ahead.
I would not be afraid to give nuclear weapons to Japan. I think the Koreans are more afraid of Japan than they are any of us.
Well, if they are more afraid of Japan than they are of us,
yeah,
they're not nearly as smart as I thought they were.
Well, they've invaded each other in the past, and they've been pretty brutal to each other. So my sense is we got to try anything we can.
Yeah, I think that China is has a new face on it, if you will.
It does. There's no question about it.
And it's going to take. This is going to be as tough a decision as any president has made, I think, since Vietnam.
And a very critical week for him.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And we didn't even get to Russia. Right. Ed, thank you.
Thank
Michael,
you.
thank you. Appreciate it.